Welcome, everyone. This is Fun Fuels, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin,
Hi, hi.
Sans Winda,
Hello.
Calabathian,
So much stabbing. Hi.
and Krister.
Hello.
Hello, Krister. And hello, everyone. Where this week we have some release notes because we have the release of Update 29, where we head into the Wildwood. And of special note, in Beyond the Brieffields lies the lightly. Actually, did I read all? No, I didn't read all this already. Anyway, that's right. I was reading the producer's letter where they had a brief version of this. Beyond the Brieffields lies the lightly traveled wilderness of the Wildwood. This heavily forested area has drawn the attraction of two groups of the free peoples who vie for its resources. I did read that paragraph. And so you have to visit Enid Nestlesting of the Trader's Wharf in Evendem or Aran Greenwith in Trestlebridge Gate in the North Downs to start questing in the Wildwood. So you could start on either side of it and you'll eventually wind up in both areas in the end on there. And this is a level 45 area. So some of the routes in that area I've run into are as high as level 50 for some reason. Those routes are really nasty. An introductory quest line for the new instances is available from Aragorn and Rivendell after completing Book 13, Chapter 10, and from Hob Hayward at the Buckland Gate. And these quests are not required in order to enter the instances. And there are, of course, new deeds for completing Agaroth, the Narrow for Tier 3 leading to Charge, and also for Woe of the Willow Tier 3 for leading charge also for that, which are must be completed by May 2nd and starting off 3 a.m. on May 3rd. Tiers 4 and 5 of Agaroth, the Narrow Delve, and Woe of the Willow will be available starting on April 1st. And we also have the Spring Festival, where a new boss from the Vaults has arrived this year's Spring Festival, where Narhel, the Red Maid, will become available on March 18th. That's already up then. That was for the festival in there. And there's also a new festivity instance called Bee's Big Business. And this year's Springs Festival features new rewards as well and runs through April 6th. We have plenty of class changes. For the Burglar, Mischievous Glee Healing Legacy has been fixed. Healing bonuses values adjusted to properly reflect implementation. Also, the Captain reverted change that prevented revealing mark from targeting creeps. And on the Guardian, Shield Wall will no longer block the target from using Stamp. Guardian fixed erroneous placeholder text for the bolster characteristic. Guardian added tooltip notes stating that the warrior's fortitude traits from separate trees will not stack, as this is just a text change reflecting existing functionality. For the hunter, the dot from Heartseeker will no longer overwrite the dot from barbed arrows when the trait shot through the heart is active.
And you're to blame. You give love a bad name.
For the Runekeeper, when the closing remarks buff is consumed by Epic Conclusion, it is replaced by the Aftershock buff, providing a plus 20% lightning damage and 25% lightning critical chance for up to 10 seconds, or until it is replaced by a new instance of closing remarks. Warden Skills Shield Slam, the boot, and ranged boot now apply their interrupt at the start of their skill animation instead of at the end, which goes a long way to explain why every time I do the boot, just before the induction is finished, I had always in the past failed to stop the induction because apparently The animation, I was basing it on when the actual kick happened rather than when the kick finished. So that explains a great deal. So thank you for that little change. And Warden's trait Shattered Javelins is undergoing a few changes. Right now, it can affect a high number of targets. If this ability is triggered on multiple nearby targets at once, the amount of bonus damage generated is more aggressive than we'd like. To address this, we're increasing the per target damage of Shattered Javelins while decreasing the number of targets in single bursts of Shattered Javelins can hit. The burst damage from more Shatter Jammers now affects 4 enemies, down from 12. Slight reduction. And the weapon damage multiplier from Shatter Javelins has been increased by 25%. The the Warren trait Indefatigable gives a large bonus now. The tooltip has been slightly reworded to say base block rating instead of block rating to reflect the way multiple sources of bonuses interact with a base buff. And the Warden trait Aggravating Wounds should now work on all damage over time effects. And the Warden skills the Boot, Onslaught, and Wall of Shield used to have an invisible internal countdown on their ability cooldown actually to apply their interrupts. We have removed these internal cooldowns with update 29. This cooldown created some confusion when the expected interrupt effect wouldn't fire correctly. The time it takes to build and deploy the gambits is sufficient to prevent warrants from becoming unstoppable interrupt machines. And yes, I've always had confusion. Okay, trying to remember. All right, have I gone long enough on this skill that I can now use this again for an interrupt, or do I have to go to another interrupt skill? And I was constantly trying to figure out, all right, which one can I use because which cooldowns were active. So I'm thankful that they have gotten rid of that headache.
Das
So
Boot was given Das Boot. No, it was given the boot, right?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just checking.
As for crafting recipes to make Ember-worthy crafts are now available in Minas Tirith's crafting tier. These recipes have been automatically added to your crafting panels. For housing in Rohan housing neighborhoods, the ambient furniture, the housing brokers should now give appropriate vendor discounts based on your housing passive skills, and the supplier summoned from the Gondorian supplier horn housing decoration should now give you the appropriate vendor discount. And as for items, the icons for Ill Omen's Portent usable inventory items have been recolored according to their benefit, making it easier to distinguish from each other in your inventory or quick slots. You can now upgrade Rimmerhand set armor pieces. So speak to the Rimmerhand quartermaster in Estodelan and trade in your existing set pieces along with tokens of resolution earned in Agaroth, the Narrow Delve, and Woe of the Willows to receive upgraded Greater Rimmerhand set armor bonuses. And in Grangrag's chest tier 1, Gurthang's chest tier 1, and Gamagol's chest tier 1 now have a chance to drop random Rimmerhand class set heads, feet, and chest pieces. The Spider Queen's Horde Tier 1 chest now has a chance to drop Rimmerhand class set hand, feet, and chest pieces appropriate to your class. And the Spider Queen's Horde Tier 2 chest now has a chance of dropping Rimmerhand class sets shoulder, legs, hands, feet, and chest pieces appropriate to your class. And some changes have been made to barter from the Rimmerhand. In other words, lots of changes to Rimmerhand set pieces. And the Dole Amroth and Central Gondor reputation granting tokens now require completion of Volume 4, Book 1, Chapter 1, The Muster of the Rohirrim, instead of Dole Amroth City Guard or introduction of Central Gondor, so that the minimum level required for the quest matches the minimum usage level of the tokens.
Yay!
What? Let's see. The Dole Amroth and Central Gondor reputation granting tokens.
Yeah, it requires a lower level intro quest now. Or a lower level quest requirement.
But
since they decided to gate those behind quests instead of just letting you pick them up and use them.
Right.
But Dolaramid City Guard is lower level quest than Muster of the Rohirrim, right? Or am I?
No,
Why?
Muster of the Rohirrim
That's the beginning. Yes. Okay.
takes place way back at the
All right. Yeah.
beginning.
That
Isn't that the
somehow
one where
I
I
was thinking.
accidentally left Terry standing by a campfire?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Oh
one.
yeah. It's okay. Somehow I got that confused with a Riders of the Rohan quest. Yes. Yes. Okay. We're talking about way back the thing that sent you into Gondor in the first place. All right. That's good. And individual steed items purchased from the LOTRO store will no longer auto-consume, making it easier for use on any character on your account. And the Anphala Starlit crystals granted when opening the Aria of the Valar item pack will now be bound to account instead of character. The imbued Legacy replacement scrolls granted when opening a Valor Level Boost 120 item pack will now be bound to account instead of character. And the Steed of the Citadel item granted when opening the Blessing of the Valor, Aria of the Valor, or Valor Level Boost 120 item packs will now be bound to account instead of character.
Oh, interesting.
And the Dusky Nimblefoot Goat item granted when opening the Gift of the Valor item pack will now be bound to account instead of to character. The piles of super scraps found in Gifts of the Blessing of the Valor packages now correctly bind to account. The Tomes of Extraordinary Experience granted when opening Aria of the Valor package now correctly bind to account. The Aria of the Valor item pack and Valor Level Boost 120 item pack no longer have a required minimum level to open.
Hooray!
Hmm?
Hooray!
The cosmetic pet horns now have a more appropriate set of sounds while moving.
What?
I
What?
gotta remember to get mine
Yeah,
out.
what does that mean?
Sounds.
Do they
Who
use to sound
determines the
like they were a
appropriate
giant
sounds?
horn or something?
Yeah, they sounded like the great big horns, but I haven't gotten mine out to see what it sounds like now.
Well,
I'm just
that's the appeal. It's just like the baby Moomax sounded like the big ones.
yeah. I was sitting there thinking like Krista. I was like, what exactly is an appropriate sound for a tree walking around?
Well, who do you consult? Those is there an expert on our planet that specializes in sentient trees moving around? Oh no, that sounds nothing like it. Yeah, every movie I've seen, the sounds of the trees are just horrible. They get them wrong every time. Those treants in Middle Earth.
You can now use your hobby horse mounts in more areas of Middle Earth.
Confirmed. Confirmed, because I was riding my hobby horse in northern Ithilien in the meadows, and I did the instance where you have basically you go to Minas Morgul and destroy the bridge with Gandalf and Aragorn. Don't get me started on Gandalf's Mithrandir's inability to use his staff to hit any kind of evil spirit attacking us, but yet he can knock down a whole brick. We're not going there.
Hey, it's Glamdring if the staff is having trouble, right?
Either way, but all he does is stand there staring at it's like, Aragorn and I are sitting there stabbing and roaring and trying to kill these things, and Gandalf is just kind of standing there like, and they're attacking him, and he's just like, peasants. He's not even looking at them, and I'm like, could you not just like take this white staff that you are basically hanging on to and go talk right on the head of a spirit? I mean, you know what? But yeah, afterwards, I have a picture of it. I got on my hobby horse because I noticed that you could do so. So in the instance, right there, right on the other side, I got onto my hobby horse and I was running around on my hobby horse in Minas Morgul. And then once I got out of the instance, I rode the hobby horse down the road back to where he is at the crossroads there, outside of Osgiliath. So I basically confirmed that you can use your hobby horse mounts in more areas of Middle Earth. So 2 places that it should be too dangerous to ride a hobby horse. I haven't tried Rivendell.
Oh,
Yeah,
you have
see,
to
that's
try
the
it.
important one.
I got to go try Rivendell, make sure.
Okay.
But yes, confirmed on that one.
Well, the rare crafting component selection box now allows selection of the tier 13 is alarm shard as an option.
Yes.
That rocks. Good.
Yeah. Prices in the auction house still have not dropped, though.
Yeah. And what exactly is the rare crafting component selection box?
It's one of the boxes that you can select as a new reward for completing 15 missions a week, or 45 missions. Well, and 45 missions. The new
Oh,
thingy.
okay. That's one of the and
Yeah, they added some additional rewards to the round of 15 missions, and then they added an additional weekly where you can do 45 missions a week, and it offers the same rewards, except I think you get better virtue XP, maybe? I don't remember.
Is that the
oh,
same
that's right. I
component
did notice the
selection
new
box that
40.
you can sometimes get from the crafting instances, the Minas Morgul ones?
Maybe. I don't know, because I don't do them.
Fair.
I thought you were saying no one knows, but the others are because they're taking the Unfallis scrolls instead. On PvP, creeps were getting plus 30% partial damage reduction from their partial BPE events from nowhere. This has been removed. What does nowhere mean?
Aww.
That could have been Sauron's evil. It could have been his evil empowered them. See?
Well, I guess that would make sense for why it went away. I'll
Exactly.
have to test my creep and see how it is.
Yeah. See, Sauron dies and the creeps become weaker.
Yeah, but see, like, it's still, like, 3 wargs on 1 runekeeper is a draw. Like, nobody wins. That's pretty balanced. Or
Oh, okay.
not balanced in the runekeeper's favor. I don't know.
War Leader, on your feet, reverted to a non-fellowship effect. War Leader quitters never win, changed to a fellowship effect. Defiler, Slick Flesh, changed to a fellowship effect. Fixed some stretch textures in the Entmoors. Removed LOS blocking on barriers near Grandsfoot to prevent creeps avoiding ranged NPCs. And as for quests and adventuring areas, the correct music should once again start playing in the interlude No Other Way session play.
Well, I'm actually right there, and I haven't done it yet, but like, I didn't. What music was playing?
I have no idea.
It would have been really amusing if the music that was playing was something happy, like what you hear in one of the inns, like especially the Shire. Because no other way. Yeah, and then it's happy. It's like yeah. No. Anyway.
Floating Rubble in Volume 2, Book 4, Chapter 7 instance has been grounded. A stuck spot in Scarhold has been fixed. Fjording NPCs will no longer become invisible after shifting out of bear form.
So you
Oh,
can no
nobody
longer be
else being
chased by
chased by an
floating axes.
axe. That was really funny, though.
And fixed an issue with quest retribution of the trees not being able to complete if cultivating the Wildwood advances too far. Removed a quest prerequisite for the Easterling Menace bestow of 9 Dislakeless in Yarnfast. The object to teleport from Minas Tirith after battle to the Hall of the King has become a banner and slightly moved position. Right? As long as you do not have Krynox challenge currently underway, you should now be able to accept and complete Present Yourself to the Chieftain, even if you have previously completed Krynox challenge. This resolves an issue with usability of Bone Amulets and Wicked Daggers because there are a number of people who couldn't.
Excellent.
Yeah, because Kranek's challenge was apparently if you did Kranek's challenge, it would make it impossible to present yourself to the chieftain, which was a problem since that was just a vector quest that people often skipped, I guess. And
Or
the
didn't
quest,
notice.
yeah. And the quest to craft for embers may now be obtained and turned in at the Moat and Ember Trader in Bree, Galtrev, Moria's 21st Hall, or Mosek near the Stable Master is Scarhald. The quest to craft for Mos may now be obtained and turned in at the Moat and Ember Trader in Bree, Galtrev, Moria's 21st Hall, and yes, what a coincidence. They're probably standing next to each other. On a Mission Weekly will now be versioned when Update 29 is released. If you intend to complete it without having your progress interrupted for the week of the patch, please complete it before the patch is deployed.
Too late.
If it was right. And fishing works properly in the Elder Slades region now. Suppliers, provisioners, and healers in Rohan Neighborhouse will now have the correct discounts. Removed bush from the base of stairs in Frost Bluff.
Oh, thank goodness. I've been complaining about that bush for years.
Grounded floating column in Ankhumuru in Moria. Stable Master in Anarkufu no longer sounds like a Bjorning, thankfully. Yeah, it
I
was
didn't think he
annoying.
sounded like a Bjorning. I thought he sounded like a dwarf. So what do I know?
I have slain
Well, to me,
goblins
he
today.
always-
Can you
he-
say the same?
Yeah, that's what I always heard from him. Fixes stuck spot at R3, whatever. Gandalf no longer is floating in a pre-battled Minas Tirith.
Wait. Okay, so hold on a sec. They're removing bushes. No more floating Gandalfs. What the heck is going on? This doesn't even feel like Middle Earth anymore. Okay.
Gandalf can float if he wants to. He's a wizard.
We just defined a disturbing crossover. What if somebody told him, Gandalf, everybody floats down here?
Random water plane will no longer appear above the players in Kizukala mission. Fixed depth carving issue in the Elder Slade's Angrim Tower. Fixed stairs issue at the Gates of Gundabad. Fixed patrol issue at the Orc encampment in Lothlorien. Fixed a sunken resource node in Fanuithal. Grounded floating resource node in Kingstead. Dug up buried resource nodes in quest objects in Kingstead. Fixed some major holes in impassable and impassables in the southern section of the western Fangorn. Thrym Redbeard grew taller in the Throne of the Dread Terror, but perhaps it was just his legendary status. He's now back to his normal height, but his legend remains undimmed.
Just ask him.
Or don't.
Or don't. We were plugs before you do that. For Wildwood, the virtue cap has been increased to 74 for characters who are at level 130. And U29 Valor Virtue XP quest restructure to resolve issues caused by the quest starting items such as Virtues of the Valor 105 and above being unique. The various Valor level up packages have been updated to use a single quest to give information about using virtue tokens. The Valor Virtue granting items has been removed as quest rewards and are instead granted inside of a coffer delivered from Valor packages. Completing that quest allows the player to open any Virtue token coffer they have received from any Valor packages. While the Virtue token coffers are bound to character, the Virtue XP awarding items receiving on opening the package are bound to account. And as
Cool.
for UI,
Said cool.
right? And for UI, LOTRO lighting has been updated. A new advanced graphics option named Per Pixel Lighting Attenuation has been added to DirectX 1011 that increases the lighting quality. Toggling this option to true will enable softer lighting as well as more consistently used normal maps and specular highlights. What that means in practice, I'm going to have to turn on the option and find out someday. And as for a known issue, in the instance Woe of the Willow, manually closing the vine doors will prevent you from progressing further into the instance. So don't manually close the vine doors, apparently. And that is it for the update.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah.
And what's not in those notes is the next thing we're going to talk about.
What's not in the notes? And that is that a skill use animation. That's right. They updated the UI also to change the animation that whenever you click on a skill that's showing that's used or that is toggled on, instead of having the traditional ants in there, you now have this white blotch that is circling around, or I guess squaring around,
It's
or
kind of greenish. It looks greenish to me. Anyway,
I
I
think it's
hate it.
multicolored, but it turns green when your skill is being used.
Yeah. Anyway, I hate it, and I'm apparently not the only one. A
that's
lot
right.
of people hate it.
Yeah, there are a number of people who love it and a number of people who hate it. Therefore, Cordovan posted a message in the forum saying, "We intend to create a toggle in the future that will let people swap between the new and old skill animation UI. We currently can't promise any ETA until we get further down the road with it."
That's a good idea. Perfect solution.
That's
But again, we didn't even know it was coming because there's nothing in the patch notes.
Right, it was a surprise.
That's what I find irritating, is that they make these changes and then they don't tell us that they made the changes.
The option to use the beta 64-bit client for Mac seems to have also been disabled in this update and not in the patch notes.
Oh, the 64-bit on the Mac? Well,
Yeah.
considering that 64-bit on the Mac was a bit of a problem anyway, right?
Well, for some Mac users, it was the only way they could play the game, was using the 64-bit instead of the 32.
Yes, but I thought that Catalina didn't support it or something like that.
I have no idea. I'm just reporting what I was told by a Mac user.
Okay. And then let's head into the LOTRO Beacon issue number 197. I am trying to figure out.
That's the Wildwood loading screen.
Ah.
Come on, Pine Leaf.
You would think I've seen that enough times by now.
What I love about this graphic is that everybody is ready to do like massive damage except for the Hobbit with the loot.
Well, I presume that the Hobbit with the loot must be the minstrel who's either
You know, the Hobbit with the loot doesn't look like they're going to do massive damage, but as soon as they strike that first chord...
No, there's no glowing hands.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There is no glowing hands. Healing, then.
Or they might be in the middle stance where they can do both.
Well, there is that possibility.
Look, it doesn't really matter because that person that's sneaking up behind them is going to end them before they can really do much.
That's true. He does look pretty menacing back there.
Yeah.
And the Hobbit is not even aware.
Yeah. For our community spotlight, last week we had our 400th episode. Yay!
Yay!
And Fiber Jedi is working to update his Spring Festival guide, and you can see the latest episode on his blog. see, is this? I don't know if it's fully up to date yet, but it looks like he's.
I think so, actually.
Yeah. So
It does have pictures of the new cosmetics and the new horses, which is really all you need.
all right.
I don't know if he's talked about the new instance yet, but I know the cosmetics are there.
All right.
Because
I
I
figured
looked.
that would be the first place you go.
Oh, yes!
Then we will have. Let's see. We'll have air up. What's new for 21? Steed of the Forest Spring added. Merry Fellow Cosmetics added. Spring made dresses now have pictures, festivity token rewards, honey goat, and festivity token cosmetics. And there's a write up about the new instance Bee's Big Business.
Pineleaf's favorite instance.
Oh
Hmm.
boy.
I kind of really love the honey goat.
And Sans is referring to that because I think I'm beginning to wonder if that's one of the worst instances from my point of view ever.
Oh, come on, it
Yes,
can't
I
be
was
that
being
bad.
facetious.
But oh, well,
She wasn't with us on the field trip, Pineleaf.
true. I was thinking that she was late just to make sure that she missed that instance or something.
I mean, with her help, maybe it wouldn't have been that bad.
Well, there is that possibility. And Deco Numelu has their latest housing looks into Update 29. And Second Breakfast on Crick Hollow is conducting a pub crawl across the Shire on Sunday. That will be tomorrow. So if you are listening to the podcast version, you would have missed that. But if you're listening live or catch the YouTube version very, very quickly, you may have time to catch that. If you would like to nominate something for the community spotlight, you can email contact@sunnystonegames.com. For our weekly comment, following extensive research, dwarf folk determined that making tools out of iron was preferable to making them out of
Pretzels. Pretzels.
That would, if you think about it, using pretzel-based weaponry and then upgrading to iron-based weaponry would be a significant game-changing upgrade. Because if everybody else was still pretzel, and you're the first guy with iron, you're in. There's nothing stopping you.
Oh, yeah.
Sir, you have not seen our pretzels.
My pretzel wielding.
Well, you got to remember, we're talking about weapon grade pretzels here.
Yeah.
I see your pretzels are as big as mine.
The pretzels do seem dangerous, but I think they upgraded to iron because they realized that if they made the pretzels a little bit softer, a little bit more food-like, they were edible, and the iron wasn't. And so they decided that making weapons with iron and food with pretzel dough was a better idea.
It's true. I mean,
Mm.
you can try to munch on iron, but if you lack iron in your diet, that's not how you get it.
That's not how you get.
You don't eat a sword.
But maybe you can combine them as well. You have like iron armor, and then underneath that you have a pretzel mail.
That would be kind of fun.
See, we've got the cosmetics with like the pretzel on them, like the little, pretzel, in the hat and everything. But we really need like pretzel mail. It's just like a mail shirt and it's like got the pretzel on it, or they're made out of little tiny pretzels. Something we need more pretzels is what I'm saying. Are you listening, devs? We need more pretzels.
Laurel Lanarian continues publishing new LOTRO webcomics. You could see the first page of Chapter 9 on this link to Twitter, and on LOTRO Stream is your first stop for LOTRO on Twitch. This week, Eldolet, Deeds, and Langflood, Winnie explores Wildwood, and Michael DK2 streams from Evernight. Also on Twitch, Beck Bushba has Wobbly Tuesdays. Zogog starts a new character, and Night Vision levels. Over on YouTube, Louis7 is one of the first into Wildwood. Bloodborne runs Tier 3 as a yellow champion, and Gamolio Dan runs into a Drift Claw.
Like literally, like, oops, sorry. Or just meats runs into.
Also, Pine Leaf, that's Wobbly Wednesday.
That's
Beck Booba had a Wobbly Wednesday.
okay. Beck Booba had a
I know you were
Wobbly.
thrown off by the fact that it was Beck Booba. But by the way, I love it when there's names like this in the beginning, because then I have to hear, then we have to get to listen to Pine Leaf struggle with them, which is always hilarious.
Let's then head into our screenshot of the week, where Ithilio the elf poses heroically around the Lake Dam in this week's screenshot of the week.
That was actually a really, really, really great shot, because somehow the clouds almost look like wings behind her.
Mm-hmm.
So we start the debate: do elves have wings?
No, they don't. Don't even go there.
They're not saints either.
Do not even go there.
Okay. You can submit your screenshot by emailing it to lotro@sunnystonegames.com. And that's it for our beacon this week. So, Terry, what's on sale?
Well, that's a good question. I guess I should scroll back up and look. So our weekly coupon gets you a free 20% mount speed boost with coupon code SpeedyHorse now through March 25th. And also through the 25th, we have 20% off quest packs, 100% XP boosts, Mithril coins, max morale and power scrolls. I should get some Mithril coins. Yeah.
So should I. I just realized I needed some, and I was like, I need to wait for them to go on sale. Well, here we go.
Yeah, they're on sale.
Here we go.
Time to stock up because I'm down to like 25.
Yeah.
For our site news, Squirrel has posted an Update 29 Wildwood Quest Guide. And this includes how you get started with Wildwood, a listing on the repeatable quests, the landscape strongholds, reputations, unlocks, and the story quests in there, talking about missions, talks about the instances Woe of the Willow, which is, and Agaroth the Narrow Dell, and discusses things like rewards and tactics for the instances. I've not read this all because there are spoilers in here, and I'm just doing my first running of it right now, so I don't want to know everything in advance, but I suppose that if I get stuck somewhere, I'll know where to go.
Yeah, I didn't read through it either, but I'm not going to lie. I'm really tempted by the rep, even though it's a lower level, just because you get a return to Trestlebridge.
You want to return to Trestlebridge?
Well, it'd be handy to have, because you don't get a return to Estelden.
Oh, that's right.
Hunters and wardens get the muster, but there's not a skill that like takes you back to the North Downs. You have to rely on stable travel. So yeah, having a return would be really nice.
And when you consider that the stable is
slow travel,
because
you can, anywhere you go to Trestlebridge is slow travel. You can get there from Estelden, you can get there from Bree, you can even get there from High King's Crossing or other places in Evendem, but it's all slow travel. I worst-eated.
Yes, and while there is some there's a swift travel from Trestle Bridge to Anakharfu. It's not a mutual one.
Yeah, no.
That's actually pretty funny that it doesn't go both ways.
No, it takes you to the war room, actually. It takes you right to, you go pick up your do missions quests, and then it's like, okay, well, how do I get back there? So it was a stable to Southbury, and then stable to Westbury, and then click the horse to the festival grounds, and then hop on a Warsteed and ride up.
Yes, my warden was quite happy when I managed to finally get that fort to Trestle Bridge.
Except the second day, I actually ended up coming down from Surikaila because got that stupid frost debuff thing, and
Oh,
there were
yeah.
no hunters hanging out making handy campfires in the war room. So, and none of the campfires that used to give you the warming thing will give you the warming thing anymore. But I know I can get it at Surikaila. So it was stable to Southbury, stable to Westbury, stable to Surikaila. Stand around for 5 seconds so that the frost debuff thing could go. And then it's like, okay, well, where the heck can I go from here? Well, I can swift travel to Ostfarad. Sure, no problem. And from there, I can go. Well, I could slow travel to Trestlebridge from Ostfarad. That seems like a stupid thing to do. So it was a swift travel to High King's Crossing, which, by the way, those swift travels aren't really all that swift because there's a lot of intro and outro time. So I kind of hopped off the horse when I finally got to wherever it was going to High King's Crossing, and got on the stable horse and headed north and then east to the North Downs. Because Warsteed, I mean, at level 130, nothing on the landscape is going to do me any harm. It's just you have to remember to make sure you're not, you go north first, because if you try to go due east from High King's Crossing, you're going to wind up in the river. That is not where you need to be.
I think there's also a roving threat in that area sometimes.
At level 130, you're over level for roving threat.
Well, I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, nothing on the landscape bothers me. So it's actually like warseeding and perusing the auction house looking for Iron shards. And I scored a couple cheaper-ish than they have been, because they're at like anywhere from $219 to $299 a piece, which is ridiculous.
Gold, not silver.
Gold, yeah. And so I snagged a couple of those and got to Trestle Bridge, and I almost missed the bridge because I was in the auction. I had the auction house screen up, so I was only kind of vaguely paying attention to my radar. And yeah, I almost missed the bridge and ended up in the river, but I caught it and backed up and went around and went to the bridge. And then I had to remember, where the heck is it again? Because coming from that way, it's harder to find the little alcove that takes you to the missions people. But yeah, that was fun.
I wonder how long it would have taken if you had gone to Tinadir, taken the boat to the wharf, and then tried going from the wharf to Trestle Bridge.
I mean, I could have gone from Surikaila back to Westbury and then to the festival grounds and then up, but I didn't really want to mess with that.
Okay.
So
Well, there's that also.
that would have been the smart thing to do. But really, we need to get the campfires
some Hobnanigans maps, you could just like go to a Hobnanigans map and then run.
Oh, I didn't think about that. But really, we need to get the campfires fixed. That's what we need. We need the campfires to give us the warming thing again.
I don't know, Terry. I love the subtle cruelty of going up to Fort Chell to get yourself warmed up again. There's something about that. That's my hat's off to Standing Stone. That's pretty awesome.
You know what else really bothers me is I did back-to-back instances with Drakes, and the first one gave me that stupid frost debuff. The second one, they were setting me on fire. So why couldn't being set on fire take off that debuff?
Yeah, there is that too. I think that's one reason why I carry campfire kits with my character.
I don't have inventory space for campfire kits.
Well, there is that problem. Then let's head into a Burke's Tale, chapter 19, where I'm sure Morkendeer is up to tricky stuff already. Calabathian?
Yeah, you guys are kind of cutting in and out, and so I didn't hear most of that. What did you say?
You're up for a Berg's Tale.
Oh, Berg's Tale, chapter 19. Morkendeer and Gammer Dandelion. They scout Weathertop, and Morkendeer discovers that Gammer was not bluffing about switching his behind.
That was great.
He decided to get, he messed around and found out.
With that, let's into our week in gaming. And apparently, Guarendis, who is unable to be on the show tonight, had some lowlights. What was that all about?
Yes, so apparently I earlier misreported. So just a second here. The login launcher is 32-bit, but they could still use the 64-bit client to play the game on Macs, which handles memory or RAM better. It's the 32-bit game client that is more problematic and is currently causing problems, I believe.
Ah, okay.
Oh, no. Yeah, it is. Okay. So, Guarendis' lowlight says, patching update 29 in LOTRO and having it promptly break the game by only allowing... Oh, this is her lowlight of the week. Was patching update 29 in LOTRO and having it promptly break the game by only allowing the 32-bit client to be launched. I've been using the 64-bit beta to great success, but am now stuck with a game that freezes when I am trying to do a Hunter port, making me have to force close the game and relog. Or when I'm trying to run from the stablemaster in a stoled lawn on foot to the Rimmerchamp Barters. And heaven forbid trying to Warsteed. That was my first mistake. All three of these things happened within 40 minutes of each other. So, as much as I am excited about the Wildwood and Spring Festival, I have nothing to say about them because I haven't been able to play since the patch went through. I try very hard not to go negative here. I've held my tongue after the first round of salt throwing about the scrolls changes, even though it made me give up on playing my alts that I was leveling. But it breaks my heart that I cannot play the game right now, and I don't know if I ever will be able to again, since all I hear from anyone at SSG, from Cord on stream to the tickets I submitted, is that they are aware of the problem, with not a word about whether they are working on it. So, I don't know going forward if I will be continuing with LPN or not. I am looking into a way to use a third-party app to help me play the game, or I can hope that SSG will fix the launcher, but neither of those things have happened yet. But I want to give a very huge thanks to Tralfaz on the forum, who does so much good work helping people like me out. And Guarendis is currently trying another re-download of LOTRO using a third-party app, trying to get it to let her play it on her Mac. So, that is why she's not with us tonight. I hope so too. Kilbathian, how's your week?
Well, I finally got my my new memory card in and realized I made a big oops because I had ordered one, and then when I went in to check to see when it was coming in, like, check my order, and because it would have a tracking number, no order showed up, and so I thought it didn't go through. So I reordered it from, a different vendor in the same thing. And that one, this is a saga. That one, I basically went, oh no, because when I went and checked, it's, hey, because I got a message, hey, it's going to be shipped. Tracking label was made. I checked it immediately, like, ooh, when is it coming in? And realized that the company I had ordered it through still had my old address on file for where it would ship, which I have not been there in since my dad left. like a couple years ago. 3 years ago. So there's no way if it had gotten sent there that I could go get it. I mean, I could drive, but there's been nobody been there. Mailbox is probably fallen over too. So yeah, I quickly was like messaging, going, "Hey, help! It's going here, but that's not right." And they got back to me immediately. So kudos for that. The vendor did, and said, "Okay, well, we can help you. What's the address that you need?" And I told them, and they said, "Okay, we'll get it fixed." And sure enough, it came in. The tracking info never corrected on it, but it came in. I went and I was like, "Hey, here it is." And then I pulled out a second package going, "What's this?" And it was apparently the first order. So I have extra memory for my computer, which, it doesn't hurt because it wound up being 16 megabytes of RAM. So now I've got like 20 instead of just 8, plus 4, about 12. So it's like, hey, an extra 8's always good. But I got that in and I tried to get some stuff going. Come to find out, it's my disk space as well. There wasn't enough disk space, and that's probably slowing it down too. So I kind of did a little bit of research and asked a bunch of people some stuff, and I got a second hard drive, one that's like 2 terabytes, so it's got room. Got that in, got it all working and set up, and so all has been revealed. Like, wow. My computer boots really quickly. Everything just goes really quickly. I still have my crap internet connection, but everything it's like, whoa, what is going on? Because I've had this thing for so long, it's been so slow, for so long. I'm like, So it's now running Civ 6, not booting me and not disconnecting me at all. And it goes really fast. Matter of fact, it now actually lets me into the game faster than Terry, which is saying something because I was usually the very, very last one coming in. And so, yeah, ESO, downloaded it, and it's running just fine. I switched over because I'm like, oh, heck yes. So on LOTRO, I switched to, well, first I started with ultra high graphics. And like all the really good stuff. And then it was kind of acting a little bit slow, like the fire would be like waving slowly. And I'm like, knocked it down to very high graphics and it's just fine. And I'm like, I have grass again, it's everything is so pretty and so clear and nice, So yeah, that was, I'm just like, wow. On Friday, yesterday, I attempted some bee business with the academy. When something like an instance or a skirmish or something irritates the crap out of Pine, it's probably a terrible thing.
That is not necessarily true.
But anyway, he'll probably expand a little bit more on that. But finally, because I've got ESO going, like, I meant to go to bed early last night, but alas, ESO worked and I was testing it. I created a Khajiit Nightblade on ESO. I'm still trying to get used to the way the game has you as a player moving and fighting, because it's like, here, let me go use the arrow key and the mouse at the same time. What is going on? Oh Lord! Getting used to that is kind of working there. But so basically, I've been doing lots of stabbing as I spam the number 1 key because I'm only level 3 and that's like the only skill I have. So I just spam it and try to avoid dying. And I'm like trying to block a little bit with my I'm like, So yeah, I'll get used to it. But holy crap, I'm like, what's going on? I opened.
Random note. Using your mouse to click to attack, just clicking on the target you want to attack, is actually fairly effective in ESO.
Yeah, I've noticed. But then, they're like, oh, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, click it this way on your mouse to block. And, oh, don't forget to double tap the W to, interrupt or whatever. I'm just like,
Right. It
Um,
takes a while. Don't worry.
I know.
and
I
then I'm
still
trying to
have
like,
a few to learn there.
I'm trying to run, and I'm like, okay, it's either like first person where I'm looking around. If I back out, I'm literally off to the left side, and
That
I'm
is
trying to
so
move and
weird.
do stuff.
We can fix that.
Yes.
Don't worry. We'll talk later.
Okay, because I'm just like, But finally, I opened the North Ithilien Herbalist Quest in order to work on my level 74 scrolls by apparently having to do the entirety of North Ithilien first.
Yep. But good work getting that unlocked.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I had to do a little bit of like the Aragorn's Pavilion and all that, and then going into the camp of the host, and yeah, because some of those are like gate locked by you have to have completed this particular quest in this book before you can do this quest for the herbalists. And I'm like, so I had to go all the way back and do that. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm getting these coins anyway. I'm just going to do everything. And so I kind of did everything. And everything is gray, so I'm not actually getting XP. And
Make
I
sure you
finally
get the
mentioned it,
foxes
and
from
Terry,
Orkindeer.
do what?
Make sure you get the foxes from Orkindeer.
Yeah. But yeah, Terry finally mentioned that, hey, just remove the tortoise stone that you've got on Celevorn and go ahead and start getting XP and go, start leveling up again, because Celevorn's a 115. That way, Celevorn can actually kind of, start playing with, more on level and, everything. But everything's gray with me right now. So yeah, I'm kind of, I'm good right now. So even though I've removed the tortoise stone, just in case I come across something that actually will give me XP, I'm kind of working on it. But yeah, that was kind of my week. And next week, I actually, starting on Monday, have to go back to work physically because I've had my shot, my first shot for COVID. So I've pretty much need to go make some money before they throw me out on the street. So yeah, Monday I start going back to work. I don't know how much more time I'm gonna have, but I'm gonna, give it a shot. But just fair warning for everyone. Next Saturday I may be like, your week in gaming is like, weep, grading. So how about you, Krister?
Well, started to take a look at the new content, and besides running Remchant over and 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 over again, we did the Festival 6-man as well. And that was pretty interesting. Saw a couple of the new cloaks drop, and so that's motivating all by itself to see if we can get those cloaks. So the other thing I did was, I know we talked about this a while ago, but I was going through my old screenshots and I found a screenshot. We were talking about glitches that you sometimes get with your cosmetics, and I found one of our favorite glitches our kin found one time. And we basically all stood in the kin house for hours, just trying on various outfits with this helmet glitch and being idiots. So this is from that particular thing. And I'd also like to point out that this is the look that I have on my face right before. It's this smug, confident look I give you guys right before I spectacularly fail and kill everybody. And just in general, Krister does, despite how wonderful he is, he still has his flaws. And what's very frustrating is Dragok continues to not be my mount. And I am still banned in Harwick. I went there for an espresso, and I got kicked out again. So I'm getting really sick of that. And Harwick, just hear my words. One day, you will pay. How about you, Sans? How was your week?
My week was pretty good. I actually started exploring the Wildwood area with Cinders earlier this week, which was a lot of fun because we don't usually get to go into a new area together first. And then we got kind of stuck in a spidery area and it was bedtime, and so we ported to Rivendell and it was all nice. Much better than the spidery area that we accidentally fell back into after getting out of. There were a bunch of people at different levels running through that area, killing things. But even the level 100 plus folks that we met, who were like one-shotting everything, were pretty nice. And as soon as they saw us, they didn't kill everything. In fact, they even let us get a tap-in or two before they killed things, which was pretty cool. We were running on 2 level 45, 46-ish champions. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. And my poor little level 21 guardian felt extra squishy trying to protect bees on the field trip this week. First off, I can't actually taunt very many of them at a time yet because I'm only level 21 and I can't do that yet.
Yeah. Sans, I would actually recommend, just a fellow tank here, I would recommend that you leave that guarding bees off of your CV. Okay, just it's not going to really impress anybody. I'm just going to throw that out there for you.
Yeah. I was much better actually at watching goats run back and forth across my screen while I was dead. That might go well on my CV. But yeah, so I would try to get all of their attention so they wouldn't be attacking the bees because I'm guardian and that's what I think I'm supposed to be doing here. And a few seconds later, the roomkeeper would be like, "Hey, why are half these goats chasing me?" And I'd be like, "I don't know. Why aren't you healing me?" And they'd be like, "Because I'm running away with these goats behind me." And then the hunter would throw down dummy and all the goats would be like, "Oh, look, it's this hunter thing." And then as soon as they kill the hunter thing, they go all different directions and my skills are on cooldown and I'm dead or I'm dead. I'm often dead before I was often dead before Kindly's thing popped out anyway. But yeah, that was an interesting adventure and I spent most of it deceased watching goats run back and forth chasing a runekeeper on my screen. So that was kind of funny. But
Sans, it would have been even funnier. Did the bees sting you after you died too? Because that would have been just flat out awesome.
You know, that would have been, but they were too busy chasing the tasty-looking runekeeper. Who was trying to give drive-by heals to everyone else, which was kind of funny. But I felt pretty squishy and useless, so...
You know, Sans, that sounds oddly familiar with you being dead, watching a runekeeper run past a lot. Maybe it's happened before?
I know, right?
Maybe in the Forsaken Inn underneath it?
I don't think I was on a guardian that time at least, though.
No, but you did watch a runekeeper consistently running in circles away from...
That is true. And it was a lot of fun.
Yes.
And we succeeded. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. But also, definitely rolled a Bjorning after that to try to get up to level 21 to take over for my poor guardian, because ouch. I don't know if I'll actually trade them out, but my guardian was feeling very squishy and unguardian-ish. And then in SWTOR, Maven, Natesh, and I all have baby consulars who all got their first lightsabers this week. So that was pretty cool. And we got our lightsabers, we were running all the group instances 3 times so that we can all 3 see each other's stories. And during the first playthrough of that, and it's a very long instance that you have to run all the way through and all the way back out of if you want to replay it again. It is huge, and they won't let you use mounts or anything. Oh man. So we're running through, and we get to the talking part at the top, and I hear this crash, and I look over, and that 42-ounce glass of water has spilled right next to, possibly on the power strip. And so
Oh,
my Cinders immediately like switches off the power strip. We unplug all the cords. Like, is everybody okay? Everybody's okay. I'm like half paying attention to SWTOR at this point and half like, oh no, what just happened? And we're on the first of 3 run-throughs to get our lightsabers, and I don't want to stop because like we finally are gonna get our real lightsabers. And so my laptop, I was on my laptop, fortunately, and the battery power was actually fully charged. So it carried me through the rest of that instance, and 2 more runs through that instance, which was pretty long. And that was pretty cool. So they all got their lightsabers. And then I turned off the game and realized I only had like 10% battery left, and I was like, phew, that was close. And then started investigating some missing stars with Grindis and Lunoria and ESO. And that was pretty fun too. So I'm looking forward to continuing that at another time. Terry, how was your week?
Well, I checked out the new missions on Terry. I actually kind of wish there were more of them to break up the regular mission rounds. I've already completed my 15 missions of the week. I actually completed that yesterday, and I'm up to 22 or 23 missions as of today. So I'll have the 45 done before the end of the week. But yeah, the nice thing is with the Wildwood missions, I don't have to do all of the Elder Slade missions in order to get the 45. I can still do like my 3 or 4 from Anak Corfu, and then pick and choose from whatever I want to do from Wildwood. So I did 4 the first day, and then I did 4 more, and then I did the last 2 today, and then I also ran the Giant again because that one was really super easy. I realized that they kind of vary in difficulty. Like, some of them are pretty straightforward, and some of them are a little less straightforward. I've gotten lost at least twice now. I've found what is bound. It just has to be Sans's favorite mission to do because it's the spiders. Which is one of the ones I got lost. The other one I got lost in was you have to do the thing for the entrances to the mines, and I didn't realize that there were like 2 directions to go. So I cleared out the one, and I'm like, okay, well now what? Because when I first started moving, there's no red dots in either direction, and it wasn't until I got to the one side that the red dots finally decided to materialize. So I thought the other, what was behind me was just an empty village, but no, it's actually the other side. So yeah, it's a little aggravating that it takes so long for that stuff to load in, because I'm really ready for it to just go. I play a champion, so I really am at my best when I'm killing stuff. Um, I actually got into the habit of I would use a summoning horn to summon the elf that you talk to get your mission of what you're supposed to be doing in the instance. And then in most cases, I ended up dismissing her and just running the thing myself because I was trying to round stuff up, and I'm like, okay, and wait a minute, well, how come? Because she's a guardian type tank thing, and so she would grab one of the things that I'm trying to, and she's a great tank actually. She's not a useless NPC for once, so yay! But she's back there killing the thing that I then have to go finish killing because she's guardian type NPC, so she's great at aggro and not so great on damage.
Yeah. Which is
So
great if you're soloing Runekeeper or something like that.
it's great. It's going to be good for the squishier classes, I feel, going through there, because like the one where you have to protect the wharf, which I did today. That one, like the last group had 6 things in it, and 2 of them were signatures. So that was a little. I mean, I didn't have any trouble with it on a champion, but I'm going through it, going, yeah, this might be a little bit hard for some of the classes to do. So it's a good that they give us an option to run with her. It's also good that they let us dismiss her if we need to, because I was perfectly fine on my own. And then I'm working on leveling up a hunter to go into the Wildwood next week with Sands and Pine. I haven't actually done any Wildwood questing because I'm holding off on doing it with the group. Because for the last several updates, I've done new content solely with the group, so that's gonna still be the thing. I'm doing new content with the group. Yeah, Baby Hunter still has like 6 more levels to go, but it'll, I've got like 3 days. It'll be fine. I have also been playing some more Civ 6. Roman War Machine is still working for me. I had a duel game where I was up against Gaul, which is a culture civ, and we're trying to out-culture each other, despite the fact that culture isn't actually a victory condition. And yeah. And then I made my way onto the continent where Gaul was and declared war on. Well, he declared war on a city-state, so I declared war on him. And before I actually made my way down to take one of his cities, to even start taking cities, I was working my way down in that direction. He sued for peace, and I asked him for one of his cities that was the one closest to me, and he said sure. So okay, and then I built up troops and I piled them around the border, and then I declared war on him again, and took 2 more cities, and then he sued for peace, and I said okay, but give me control of the cities that I captured from you. So he did. And so the next time I play, I'm basically going to be wiping out Gaul. And then last night on our big group where we tested Calabathian's new configuration, we ended up with Vietnam wasn't Pineleaf for once. Pineleaf decided to play Japan, and she ended up in between myself and Pineleaf, and Scythia was down there, and Sans was playing Russia, kind of off in the corner on the same continent, but not really super involved. But basically, she decided from her main city, because as soon as we spotted her, I'm like, okay, she's going to be a problem because she's right between where Pineleaf and I are. And yep, sure enough, she plops a city close to my border, and then she plops a city close to Pineleaf's border. And so we did the sneaky thing, which is you send a trade route to the city so that your troops can move down there faster because she's in the middle of all this rainforest garbage that's a pain in the butt to move through. And then I also negotiated open borders so that I could just get my troops inside her territory. And then we declared war and we wiped out Vietnam. And it took us 4 turns. We declared war on turn 47. We declared war on Vietnam, and turn 51, I took her capital. 4 turns. That's the Roman War Machine and the Royal Japanese Army.
Yes.
There were 2 cities left out of that. The one that because you have to keep the capital city. You're not allowed to raise those. But the other one that she had dropped by me, I wiped that one off the map. I didn't like where it was, so it went bye-bye. I kept her capital. Pineleaf kept the other city that was closer to him, and then our next object is going to be France, because she's sitting kind of up in the corner and she keeps trying to send out settlers, and the barbarians keep capturing her settlers. So I've rescued 2 of her settlers now. So she still only has 1 city. And so one of the settlers is going to be a new city for Pineleaf, because I can't give the settler back, but once I use the settler to settle a city, I can then trade the city to Pineleaf. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with the other one yet. Fun.
Yeah, can you imagine that though, Terry? You hand that off to Pineleaf. The building codes are going down the tubes. He's probably going to use really, really cheap particle board to build everything.
Well,
first stiff wind comes, boom, everything's on fire.
But not necessarily, because it gets a good Roman foundation. So.
Well, and we are talking about the Japanese here, who probably do have some problems when it comes to engineering and architecture. So.
Yeah. Probably not as good as if it was China, but because Imperial Japan actually had some decent stuff going on for it. And then in ESO, I progressed some more with Terry Adwin, actually. In Cold Harbor, I found the mage that I was looking for, as well as a cursed tavern today. and I did a delving thing, which is kind of like a public dungeon, except it's not really a dungeon. It's like a mini dungeon. Because there's also a public dungeon that I ran across, and I was like, no, we'll be back for that maybe. But yeah, I rescued these people from the cursed tavern, and I mean, I guess not having souls is probably bad. So yeah, they were cursed, but I mean, they were sitting around drinking mead all day, and I don't know why they were complaining about this.
They were stuck in Cold Harbor, though. Anytime they tried to leave, it was Cold Harbor. No going to sleep in your own bed.
Well, no, they didn't want to go to sleep. They literally all they wanted to do was hang around and drink mead. It's actually I found there was one NPC who was laid out across the top of a bar upstairs. But yeah, the mead was enchanted, so it made them so they didn't really want to go anywhere or go home. All they wanted to do was hang around and drink more mead.
And that's enchanted from regular alcohol in what specific way?
I don't know. Well, because they sold their souls to get it. I don't know. Anyway, I beat the Daedric Prince's minion and freed their souls, so now they can go live their lives in the Hollow City, which I don't know how that's really better, but apparently it's better. Because apparently whenever we're done, they get to maybe go back to Nirn, the actual regular world. And then I've been having a lot of fun on my new baby Templar, poking around in where she's at in Skyrim. And then I also logged in my werewolf warden for the first time since the update, and I had forgotten that we left off in Elsewhere, and Elsewhere is a region that I've not done anything in, which is the whole reason we went there. But we went there and logged off and hadn't been back on. And so I'm poking at my skills trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And basically I turned off the skills advisor because I'm trying to do werewolf skills, and there's no advisor for werewolf skills. And the warden
want them all.
Yeah, well, the warden, it wants you to do a bow and arrow, and I'm like, I don't really want to do a bow and arrow. I want daggers, because anyway, so I finished with that, and I was like, you know what, I should go see what's going on here in town. So it turns out that the Elsewhere questing is given to you by Abner Tharn, who is a character that my main has met several times, and I don't like him anyway, because he's really arrogant and conceited. And I mean, that's pretty much the norm for ESO mages, apparently, is that they're really arrogant and conceited. But he's arrogant and conceited on top of that, and he frequently makes me want to just smack him. And so he's in Elsewhere, and not only is he in Elsewhere, he's responsible for what's going on in Elsewhere. Because when he's telling you the story, you kind of want to smack him anyway. Just because of his tone. And then you talk to the other people and you find out that he's responsible for what's going on. And then you really want to just stab him. But apparently I'm going to go figure out what's going on with dragons and see if I can get them out of Elsewhere. So that should be fun and toasty. Pine Leaf, how about you? How was your week?
How was my week? I'll start off on Crick Hollow, where I started playing the new region with my mid-level 40s warden. And while I was there, I learned that the Wildwood is a wonderful place to farm for pages. Probably the best place of all that I could think of right now, because it drops all the pages, not just half of them like you get in most of the other regions. And also, every mob drops pages. I don't know.
Nice.
Yes, I have absolutely no idea how those bears ate those pages or whatever, but
well, see, some innocent minstrel was walking along reading the page, wondering what book it fit in, and this bear found them, and they were so distracted.
Yes, I suppose that's always possible. It makes me think of that sheep in the opening song from Beauty and the Beast that is eating one of the pages from Belle's book. Anyway, best place to farm pages since you're right at the right level, so you don't have to wait until you're good enough in order to get to Mori, which is another place where you can get all the pages at the same time without having to worry about swapping back and forth areas, and you don't have to worry about freezing to death as you would going up in Porchel.
And even the easier to kill enemies, like the birds, have them. So
Yeah. And I also learned that missions are actually listed in the skirmish stats panel.
What?
Yeah, I was noticing because I was going into there, I was checking out my skirmish panel, stats panel, and I noticed that all of my missions were listed on that panel in there. And as a strange little bug in there, I noticed that whenever you finish a mission, it counts as a skirmish completed, but it does not count as a skirmish attempted. Thus, my completion ratio for skirmishes on my level 40 character is well above 1 because this is the same character that got the Slade Runner title at level 20. So you know that I run tons and tons and tons of missions on this character. So look at that. So my skirmish completion ratio is ridiculously high simply because I have all these skirmish completions, but only a couple of skirmishes attempted on this character.
Weird.
Yeah, weird. So that's a little bit of a funny thing where they charge you for they give you credit for finishing a skirmish, but not for attempting a skirmish in there. But yes, I was very much surprised. I was not expecting to see mission stats on that page. And my honor warden finished the Minas Tirith epic, and I laughed at the tavern keeper of the Laughing Halfling. I thought that was most appropriate. And then on the Legible, I started a new character to see if I could reach level 40 by Tuesday for questing with Tarian Sands. I do have a backup of a minstrel who's at level 61, but was it 51? I guess 51 or something like that. But I would like to see if I can get a 40 to 45 character ready by then. While I was running book 1 of the epic storyline, I ran into a huge surprise in there, and that is during this update they revoiced Tom Bombadil.
What?
what?
Yeah,
What does he sound like?
like a baritone. He sings all the way through. I would expect him to be a tenor. He has this really low voice, and he's singing all around. Really?
Wow.
I just wait till I can hear Corey Olson's response if he ever has a chance to talk to Tom Bombadil in the near future. But yeah, I was just sitting there saying, "What? What?
Hey, do, Mary, do."
No, it's not quite like that because he is singing it. So try that. Try singing that, and that'll give you closer to what he sounded like.
I can't do a baritone singing.
Okay, you got a point there.
I think I'm a mezzo, alto, like soprano or something. Alto, I don't know, something.
Well, and I also learned that when you're doing the Lolly Escort quest, the non-aggressive crawlers, because there are 2 sets of crawlers. You have the ones that are normal. The normal ones, they are aggressive and they will attack you. And you also have the greenies, the swarm ones, who were non-aggressive. So you
They'd
would
still
have to
go
go.
after her, though.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they go right straight for her. That's the first
Oh yeah, they
time.
do.
Yeah, it's the first time I was paying attention to that. I said, wait a minute, that was one of those swarm ones. Lalia seems to be hated by every crawler in Middle Earth.
Yeah,
Can you
not
blame
just
them?
not just the crawlers.
But anyway, uh, yes, I had not realized that before. And when you consider that I came to realize this after running into Tom Bombadil's voice change, I was wondering, did they change this or has it always been this way and I just haven't noticed it yet? Apparently, it's always been that way and I just didn't notice it before. And that concludes my week in LOTRO. And we have another entry from Darren Loremaster, who gives a Middle Earth rendition of Hall of Fame. And you can check that out at the LOTRO Players site. Our top supporter this month is LOTRObuild.com. This is a collection full of LOTRO databases, including an item database, a relics database, and a titles database. You can use it right from Discord or server from the Discord server with LOTRO Build Bot. We currently have 16 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for podcast hosting or website hosting and to pay for our live shows. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send one, you can send it to podcast@LOTROplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, and LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Arendis at Arendis, Ponifit, Ponifeedles, Senswind at Senswind, Teriadwin at Teriadwin, Quarendis at Quarendis, Calabathian at Calabathian, and Krister at Skip Me Say Nothing.
Close enough. That's
The Players Alliance has two shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Players News. You can source our shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Five Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.